A brand new year and a brand new podcast. This is WTF is CryptoSpace. Today's show is going to include an interview with Brett and Greg Armstong about Veritaseum, utility value, and a lot more. Stay tuned. You're smart. You know how to listen to suggestion and make your own decisions, right? We're just two Aussie brothers talking shit about cryptocurrencies. So, do yourself a favor, research the topic before doing anything financially. Now for that banging intro music. Welcome to WTF is CryptoSpace. I'm Chad. This podcast is all about the crypto space. Yes, as you heard, Brett's not here today, but what we do have for you is a special interview with Brett and Greg Armstrong. But before we do that, let's do what we normally do at the start of the show, which is shout out. Solo version. The shout out is going to go to lovely people from Houston, Texas, Omaha, Nebraska, Singapore. Thank you very much, guys. Again, Los Angeles, CA, which is also California for people who are in America. Also Ashburn, Virginia, Ottawa, Canada, Santa Ana, Costa Rica, and Perth, Australia. Also Sunshine Coast up there, guys. I hope you had an amazing Christmas and an amazing New Year's. Please put down that champagne, right? Get your pad out, ready for this interview. This is the first show, and it's an interview show for 2018. Without further ado, let's go straight into the interview with Brett and Greg Armstrong. So, Greg, welcome.
Good morning.
How
are you guys?
Yes, from sunny Queensland.
Yep, absolutely. It's sweltering up here today.
Yeah. And so we're going to talk about utility value in the crypto space today.
Yes, utility value. I guess we should start by telling our viewers what utility is.
Sounds good.
It's an economic term. It's the total satisfaction that a product can produce or yield. Okay?
Yep.
It can be a group, goods and services. If you're going to get yield out of the product, do you have to sell down your principal, which is the last thing we want to do?
Absolutely. So, Greg, what are some of the utility value tokens that we should be looking out for in the crypto space?
Oh, without a doubt, number one would have to be Veritaseum.
Mm-hmm.
I also like OmiseGO.
Oh, yes, of course, OMG, yeah.
Salt.
Definitely
Salt.
Yes.
Yeah.
And PPT?
As you're probably aware that they're using Salt, will be using Salt as a loan vehicle of some description.
Absolutely.
What else do we have there?
Populous?
Populous, absolutely. Populous is one of the better ones. That's probably number 3 on my list.
Yeah, absolutely. What'd you have as number 2?
Possibly Salt.
Oh, interesting.
To be honest.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So because it's fundamentally disrupting the whole banking community by doing that.
Yeah, I like what their model is looking at. So why
credit ratings are straight out the window with that company.
Yeah, exactly. So why do you not want to sell your principal? I know it sounds like an obvious question, but for listeners who are tuning into this podcast,
well, you really want to sit tight and obviously produce a yield.
Mm-hmm.
Without selling down your principal. So if you've got a steady income stream coming through.
Great. Okay. So so these sort of things used to happen maybe in the 1930s or the 1940s or 1950s. If you had shares, you used to have stock and you used to get paid a dividend, right?
Oh, that's right. You know, trying to find dividends these days is it's not easy.
No. And so the crypto space is now opening that back up for us, isn't it?
Absolutely. Now, one of the main things you really need to think about is when you're going into crypto space, hey, why am I there? Am I there for the long term?
Yes.
Am I looking to make a quick buck and just ducking in and ducking out of different tokens?
Yep.
Or, you know, why are you there?
Absolutely.
So you need to focus on that. You need to write down a list. Okay, I'm here for the long haul. You know, let's see where this goes. I want to make some yield. Okay, well, I'm going to look for a utility token. That's going to represent a lot of value. As more people use that token, the price is obviously going to be higher. So it's going to reflect. Okay, it's going to find value.
And so how do you find value in a token?
You really do need to look at how many different revenue streams that you're able to enjoy, pretty much enjoy some dividend from.
Mm-hmm.
So you may have, with Veritaseum, I think there's something like, I don't know, eight different ways you can make yield out of that. And we don't even know yet before he's going to launch shortly. So then
That's
we'll
Reggie
know
Middleton,
exactly
right?
what's going on. That's Reggie Middleton.
Yep.
Is a big name on Wall Street.
Absolutely.
I think he's produced a superior model.
He has, and he's just recently released the beta version of his VEDA, which I just love the name, but VEADIR. It's his peer-to-peer capital market suite. And so, the idea with that new is that for those who own 1,000 or more VERI, they become strategic partners, which just offers another whole level to being engaged with the offerings that he is offering the crypto space.
Yeah, that's right. I haven't managed to watch the full live video as yet, so it should be interesting.
Yeah, look, and the technology is amazing. The thing is that we some of our listeners, they'll know Ether Delta, and look, Ether Delta has had some DNS issues of late, which is something to sort of be aware of, and there is a lot of pummeling of tokens like VERI and Populous that don't have a place on the exchange. And do you want to say why you think they don't have a place on the exchange at this stage?
Well, you really do need to be careful if you're going to be flipping tokens, if you're going to be ducking in, ducking out, because we're getting so many people joining the crypto space.
Yes.
Okay, signing up to all these platforms, and it's supply and demand. Now we're finding it's really difficult for them to keep on growing, at the speed that we're at. So they're having a lot of trouble with operating those exchanges at the growth rate that we're at. So you may be caught in a situation where you're not able to sell your tokens down.
Yep.
And boom, you could end up in a lot of trouble by doing that. So it's better to sit tight, find a nice, valuable, a token that's representing value, long-term value.
Yep.
Which has utility value.
Right.
And just holding and reaping the rewards from there.
So we talked about a couple. So one of them is OmiseGO. Okay, just briefly, for people who are listening into this, OmiseGO is an Ethereum-based financial technology for use in mainstream digital wallets. Now, the interesting thing is that it has a great POS function that they're looking to bring in for small businesses, which will give more people accessibility to the crypto space. And some people, like anything like the internet, you're using underlying technology that you might not necessarily know about, right? And so with this, you can have the securitized tokens, which then function as revenue for those point-of-sale systems as you are offering that. Salt, we mentioned Salt. So Salt, again, is Salt Lending is their website, saltlending.com. And again, the whole thing with the Salt Lending is this is to leverage your blockchain assets, right? So they'll be able to loan out US dollars. Then we had Populous. Populous token is an invoice system. Well, it has the ability to buy and sell invoices for future value. And then, of course, VERI. And so did you want to tell us some more about some of the ways that VERI can offer potential utility value at some point in the future for people?
Well, absolutely. There's actually a rental facility in there. If you want to rent out your Veritaseum, your VERI, Verita, you can. So you can rent it out and that will produce yield for you. Or you can speculate. So there's baskets of cryptocurrencies in there. There's a basket of cryptocurrencies that have been valued by the team at Veritaseum. And they're looking at those and they're saying, hey, look, these are the best in breed. So these are the only tokens we're going to allow on the platform and allow you to speculate against. So that's a great idea because, the guys there, they really do know what they're talking about and how to value these tokens. So they've done a lot of the hard work for you.
And so Reggie's a researcher and an and a financial expert. So he has that ability to understand the financial markets, but what he's also now being able to do is take that into the crypto space so that people who are not necessarily accredited investors are getting exposure to opportunities that they may not have been able to get to in days gone by.
Oh, that's right. I mean, you don't go and try and do it yourself when you've got these financial professionals in there because they really do know what they're doing.
And so he's done a lot of research on a few different tokens, and you can buy reports from their business. But VERI tokens essentially is permission to access the software that they're using. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. If you don't own VERI, you can't do anything in the platform. You have to purchase VERI to start with.
Right.
Or you have to borrow the VERI from someone that's willing to rent it out.
So let's say VERI gets a little bit more popular, which you and I both expect will probably happen. What does that mean when there's no VERI on the market to buy?
Well, the value of the token will be increased, obviously.
And so then people can rent out those tokens for use.
Yes, absolutely. He's actually produced a leveraged product, and the leverage at the moment is 1:100 Ethereum. So one Verita equals 100 Ethereum. I think it's about $80,000 around there, roughly US dollars.
USD,
currently. Yeah. So that's basically what you're using to trade. Okay, so
and he was talking about
equal in this environment.
Yeah, that's exactly. And look, and the good thing is that also on his Veda, they're also looking at being able to provide access to 4 or 5 different fiat currencies. So that will also give another entry point into the crypto space for Wall Street.
Oh, absolutely. Not only that, I believe he's doing a deal with the Jamaican government. Cross fingers that it's going to go through.
Yep.
We don't know yet until the final documents are all signed. You can't speculate on that as yet. Now, that's going to open up a world of opportunities there for the Jamaican government. They could be veritizing debt, marinas, who knows? We just don't even know yet what they're going to come up with.
And look, here in Australia, of course, we have our toll roads. Just as an example, we have our toll roads, right? And so someone builds the toll road, and then they collect this tax or this fee for every time everybody drives through. Now, that's a private company who collects that revenue, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so then you could take something like that model and potentially buy or lend money to governments to be able to build infrastructure for future programs.
Absolutely. Well, what's going to be really interesting about it is how the governments, if the government's able to do this, why do they need a reserve bank?
That's it. That's a pretty big thing. And what do you think about 2018 in the crypto space?
Oh, 2018 is going to be huge. Absolutely massive. I think Veritaseum will easily rise to the top of the chart because it does have utility value. I think you're going to find the tokens that have got utility value are going to quickly rise to the top. And they're going to remove those other speculative tokens, especially the network tokens. I'm really not a big fan of the network tokens.
Do you want to explain?
The reason is Well, look, a network is pretty much freeware.
Right.
So it's not a real company that's producing income, anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically just releasing a network out there for people to go and tinker around with and launch their apps and utilize that. So I akin it to freeware.
Yep.
I know a lot of people are going to get upset with me saying that, but that's just my personal point of view. I look for real companies that are going to produce profits, and that will reflect in the price, in the value of the token.
Right. Exactly. Okay, cool. And so just to be clear for people, network tokens might include Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin?
No, network tokens, more like IOTA.
Great. Okay, cool. Ethereum.
Kyabra Network, I think another one is.
Cool.
Ethereum, not necessarily, because you have to remember a lot of the ERC20 tokens are actually they're the valuable tokens.
Right, cool.
That we're talking about.
Okay, cool. So you might actually see an increase
of
in
pushing it up. Yeah.
Right. That's where I was going. Yeah, so you might actually see a potential price increase, because we can't say necessarily, but you'll see a price increase potentially in Ethereum as the underlying ERC20 tokens outpace Ethereum.
Yes, exactly. We'll push it up either ways. So I'm willing to say that yes, that will be happening.
Cool. Awesome. So any last words about why, for you, if people are trying to get into the crypto space and as they dip their foot, maybe they bought their first Bitcoin and made their way in, hey, maybe they even own Litecoin or Ethereum, but as they sort of stay in this crypto space and they've been in it more than a couple of months, is there something you can part? Is there something you'd want to leave them with?
Do your research first. Don't listen to all the cats out there. Really, really look into a company, where it is at the stage of their releasing of their software. Okay, and does that software produce any income? Is it a real company? Is it producing yield? Is there value there? You need to look at that first. And otherwise, you're purely just speculating. That's all you're doing is speculating and buying something that isn't producing any income there. It may have a purpose, a use, like Bitcoin certainly has a use. Litecoin certainly has a use as a currency or a means of trade, and really quickly to be able to quickly to do that. But I certainly would be looking for value first. Before making any hard decisions with your capital.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Greg, for joining us.
No problem.
It's been a pleasure.
All right. Thank you.
How good was that interview? Thank you so much to Greg for taking the time to record with us and have a chat with Brett. Thank you so much for listening to the end of this podcast. Hope you got some real nuggets of information there. Guys, don't forget, we have a Twitter. You can find us on Twitter at WTF CryptoSpace. Also, we have a Facebook group. Search CryptoSpace, look for the groups. And we're in there, and chuck a like in there. Also, thanks so much for liking and commenting on all of our stuff. If you're on YouTube, smack that like button, smack that subscribe, and also hit that bell. Thank you so much for listening. Remember, we have that competition still going till Valentine's Day. That is the 14th of February. You can win an hour of our time to sit on a Skype call, have a chat to us about crypto space and everything crypto-like. You can win that just by rating and reviewing us on iTunes. If you go to iTunes, even if you're not subscribed, don't listen on there. If you go on there and do it, you'll go into the draw to win the hour of sitting down with us and having a chat about your crypto space, your experience, and your progression towards greatness. Thank you so much for listening. Remember, you can subscribe to this podcast by clicking the subscribe button, and you'll get that podcast update from us, knuckleheads, every Wednesday, 9 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. But until next time, my name's Chad. Let's get excited about the crypto space. The transition has begun.